What I have behind me here is a 2013 Hyundai Sonata. It's not just any Hyundai Sonata. This one is the mild hybrid. So it's got a high voltage system. It does not have a separate charging port. That's why it's considered a mild hybrid. I picked up this car here for $1,700 with a known issue. And we're going to get to that issue in a little bit. But first, let me show you around the car and show you the imperfections that the car has, such as the peeling paint, the loose fog light. And as I was driving this car home, the tire went flat. So before I do anything, we need to fix this tire. So there's imperfections like this, you know, small body dings, things like that. It's not a big deal. And the bumper here has some scratches as well. Not too worried about it. They installed a camera before and it's kind of not staying up there, so that needs to be fixed as well. Let me show you guys under the hood of this vehicle as well and tell you a little bit more about the story and what I know so far about the vehicle. So I purchased this vehicle, as I mentioned before, with a known issue. The person who I bought it from said this car needs a transmission. Now, when it's cold, you step on the gas and the car picks up no problem. It shifts gears no problem. But once it warms up, it starts to slip. A lot of people that own cars like this, they do not maintain them. They don't do the services. The engine, however, is in pretty good condition. It is pretty clean. Can't see too much in there, but it's actually pretty clean. Engine works really good, really quiet, which is why I bought it. Worst case scenario, for $1,700, you can part this car out and sell components like this, the high voltage generator, and sell the engine and things like that, and you can get probably more than $1,700. I found a spare tire that I'm gonna leave in there temporarily. I got the car up on jack stands and we're gonna go underneath and we're gonna take the covers off and start draining the fluid. Let's get these panels removed. Before we go any further, we need to disconnect the 12-volt battery, and also we need to disconnect the high voltage system as well. So right here we got the 12-volt, so that's pretty simple. Disconnect the negative, pop this out, and that's good. Now to disconnect the high voltage, we need to come to the back here. We can see this orange tab here, which indicates high voltage. You want to pull up on this black part and pull. For 5 minutes, we have to leave it disconnected. That way everything discharges. We've got this 24 millimeter here and we want to crack that loose. That's our drain bolt for the transmission. I don't want this to go everywhere. So they did do a service to this, but as you can see, the fluid is still extremely dark. I want to point out one thing. When you're draining this, pay attention to the smell that's coming out of the transmission here. If it smells like burning type of smell, could be a good indication that the clutch packs might be extremely worn. On the drain plug here, this portion, that end over there is magnetic, so you want to look at it. You can see mine is pretty dark. While that is draining, I'm gonna take off the fill plug here. You can just use the head of the ratchet, a 3/8. Let's pop this out. Okay. Nothing to see there really. I'm gonna go ahead and take off this airbox now. The reason why is because we need to take off that unit right there, the control module. Forget what they call it. We got to take that module out. Almost done taking out this hybrid power control module here, also known as HPCU. So right now, the only thing I need to do, I need to take off this coolant line here. And I also damaged the hose at the bottom. I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to need to order that too. It's actually this hose that runs here. I'm not sure if you can see it where my finger is. Tiny hose, it goes to the cooler. I'm going to go ahead and drain the low pressure or the high voltage cooling system. So to drain the main cooling system, there's a tab right here. Let me show you guys a bit better. So there's that white thing. You just twist that, but we're not going to do that. There's this Phillips head right here. That's the one we need to drain. And I'm going to drain it right over here. I hope I don't completely miss this. Let's open up this cap and it will drain a lot quicker. We got this control unit out, and now I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum up all this debris. It is filthy in here. You know, they cleaned up the top and everything like that, not the bottom, like they always do at the used car dealership or the auction, wherever this car was sold at. So let's go ahead, bring the vacuum in here and vacuum this all up. This looks 10 times better than what it was. I took out all the debris, I vacuumed it out. There's still some in the cruds, you know. It's not perfect, but it's 10 times better than what it was. So now we can go ahead with the disassembly, the rest of the disassembly process, because we need to take this plastic cover off for the transmission, because that's where we need to investigate and spend most of our time. So without further ado, let's keep going and let's remove this transmission cover. We've got one last bolt up there, and this should come out. It's a pain in the butt. Get this clip out of here. Try to not break it, because I already broke one of them. Okay, is that it? Is that it? I don't know. Oh man, that's kind of a pain in the butt. Stupid designs, man. Like, I know these things are supposed to be lifetime. You don't service them. But come on, man. Gotta do better than that. Alright, that's out. I'm gonna switch on my gloves. And we're gonna get this valve body out of here and start inspecting now. I'm so excited. Let's go. I got this connector here off. I don't know exactly how it's connected up there, but I'm not worried about that yet. I'm going to take off the valve body. So I'm going to take off all of these screws or bolts, and we're going to get the valve body out and start inspecting it. And so here is the valve body. I got it all out of the car. I put it here in the parts washer because this is where I'm going to clean it, and this is where I'm going to test it. Let's go ahead and take these off. This is what holds our solenoids in place. Now we can slide this back just like this. So these notches here, that's what holds the solenoids in place. We should be able to just use something and pry these up. Let's see if I can use this tool here and just pry up. We're gonna look at the screen here. That's gonna be the first thing. The screen looks okay. There is some debris there. I'm gonna take all of them off, do a quick visual, and I'm gonna put them in order that they came out. We are now gonna test the resistance of each of our solenoids. So we're just gonna test resistance. You wanna just go from one side to the other, and we should see about 5.1 ohms. We are at 4.6 on this one. Just gonna move this to the side. This is gonna be number 1. Okay, this is solenoid number 2, 9.9. All of them were 4.6, 4.7 ohms, other than the 2, which I have to look at the specification right now, but they should be, they're not supposed to be 5.1. These are the specifications we need to have. 10 to 11 resistance for the on-off solenoid, which is these solenoids right here, these two, and for the rest of them, they all should be 5.1, but I was getting 4.6. Now, it could be because the weather is cold, so that will affect resistance. It's pretty cold outside. We're right now probably around 35 degrees Fahrenheit. The next step will be to energize each of these and see how they sound, and also clean them at the same time. Here's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead, and it doesn't matter which side you do, but I'm gonna go ahead and put one of these, a positive and a ground. Like, it's gonna be a positive and a ground, right? That's all the solenoid needs to operate. I'm gonna put one of them here, and then on the other side, I'm gonna put power, and that's how this will energize. So right here, you can see where the plunger is pushing out the fluid. That's where we need to spray some brake clean in there, and that's how we're gonna get this cleaned up. Okay, we're gonna go ahead with the disassembly of the valve body right here. So I'm gonna start off by taking off these screws right here and taking the rest of them off. And I'm gonna take pictures of all of these stuff because it's the first time I'm taking this off. And be careful, these are springs, so make sure, you know, they don't pop up, and make sure you put them back in the same position that they were. So I'm going to take lots of pictures as I'm doing this. We got the two halves, or the first half, separated. I'm going to get this off here because we want to get to all of these valves. So let's start by doing that. These are going to be 8 millimeters. So that's gonna go like that in there, and we can see there's a bunch of balls and small things like that that we need to clean up here. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead now and start removing some small stuff. Let's go ahead and take this tiny thing off. and I'm gonna put them on here the way these came off. I'm gonna move this out of the way because I want to get to that one later, but I do want to focus on this one here first. And we're gonna go one by one and disassemble whatever needs to be disassembled here. Okay, there we go. So the first half is fully disassembled. I got all of the valves off and we're gonna clean them. I do have them in order here the way they need to go. This is gonna be actually the opposite way. So it should be like this. But yeah, I have them all in order the way they need to go. So now we gotta clean this up really well. I'm gonna use the parts washer that I got here, and then I'm gonna go to clean these up. I'm going to use 1,000 grit, 2,000 grit sandpaper just to sand a little bit to make sure they're all fully cleaned. And then I'm going to disassemble this first half. Then we go ahead and complete the other two halves in order. Right over here, I filled this up with some ATF. So I'm going to use this to clean and install our valve body together. This should be all nice and clean here. I'm going to take a clean rag and just tap it up like that. I'm going to be using 1,000 grit sandpaper to sand these and put them together. Start doing. I have some brake clean here as well. Let's get a little bit of brake clean on these. Okay, I have these in order, so we're gonna start from this one. And it will get rid of any imperfections that might be on the surface there. Okay, a little bit more brake clean. This one is good to go inside. Let's get some ATF on here. Put this in there. All right, that moves nice now. So I'm going to follow the same procedure for the rest of these, and I'll get back once I'm done with this one.
The process for this one is going to be the same. You want to make sure you take these off, get the valves off. This, you could see that some of our valves are stuck, like this one. Like they're not, there was a couple that were completely stuck. Like right here, this one is completely stuck. This one is really hard. That one's okay. This one's completely stuck as well. This one here. So yeah, it's the same procedure. That's how I'm gonna clean it, and at the end everything should be moving nice and free. Also, make sure that you clean out this screen. We got these two halves together. They're not bolted down yet, so I'm just gonna leave them like that. But these two are both done. All the valves are cleaned. So now we move on to the Grandmaster. It's the final one. We have to do that one. I'm gonna put all the solenoids in order, the way they go. This is valve number 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we leave it there. Alright, I'm pretty sure that's all of them. Alright, we got all 3 assembled. So now I'm just going to start putting it back together with the screws. Alright, going around one more time to make sure they're all tight. Okay, awesome. So that's done. So now I just got to put the solenoids together. So they're going to be in order here. Make sure we clean these up as well. Here is the complete assembly assembled. The solenoids are in there. So with this being done here, that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to be uploading a second part to this when I go and install it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below if you think this repair will fix it or not. And I will see you guys on the next one.